It's time to remake one of our old videos. Hi everybody, this is Dante from the Aether Amalgam, and today I'm going to be talking about how to deal with D.I.D when you're in college. So previously, about I think a year or two back, we made a video about this, but this was like before we started hormones, so we sound like a prepubescent child, and I'd rather not expose everybody to this. So I'm just going to remake it. So cooperation is a very big part of dealing with dissociative identity disorder while you're in college. Establishing good communication with your alters is a very important thing. Like, you can leave notes for each other, or if you can talk in the headspace, that's really helpful. And another thing is, if someone really takes an interest in one of the classes you're in, you can just let one of your alters take the class for you. If they're like really into it and are totally going to be committed to it the whole semester, that's really helpful. We had that happen once before when we were taking human sexuality, because Devin gets really awkward around sexual topics, and Dara's just like, yeah, no big deal. I'll take the class, and he took it and got like an A-, which was super great, and we were super happy with that. So yeah, if one of your alters wants to take a class for you, you can let them do it if you're comfortable with it, and it can be really helpful, and there can be some really great results that come from that. Another good thing is trying to remember your class schedules, even though memory is clearly not a strong point of anybody with D.I.D, but you can do something like our little bullet journal, keeping something with you like pretty much all the time. We just toss this in the backpack and it's really helpful. And in one of the first pages, we've got our class schedule right there written down nice and clear, so anybody who's in doubt of what to do or where to go and when to go to it, they can just consult the journal, and that's really helpful. You can also do things like planners or, keeping the schedule on your door. Like, we used to have a little square of paper with the schedule written on it. We still need to do that. That's like our annual thing, the door schedule. And that way your friends can know when you're free as well, and so can you. And if there's any confusion about that, you can just consult your door, and it's great. Another helpful tool with memory is writing on your hands. I know it seems a little bit like high school, middle school, but a lot of people don't care about stuff in college. You see people with writings all over their hands in just various languages. It's pretty cool. So usually we write in a language that's native to our in-system kind of world, and it's kind of interesting because nobody knows what it is. So it's kind of like secret notes to each other, and it's really cool. And then taking notes during classes can be pretty intimidating. Like, you can end up with a bunch of different handwritings, but that's kind of cool to look back on sometimes, because like we have alters that write in cursive, alters that don't write in English, and alters that kind of turn notes into an abstract kind of poetry, which is really interesting to read, but not very practical. Although sometimes it does turn out to be pretty good. Like, Hollow really writes a train of thought instead of what the teacher puts up on the board. And that can really stick with us better than just notes, because it's like crucial bits of information and how they're connected, so it's pretty cool, not gonna lie. And if you tend to lose track of notes and kind of dissociate during lectures, there's no shame in asking for the notes. There are a lot of accommodations you can get in college, like you can get into a program where you can get copies of the notes, you can get extra time on exams, and you can even get something like a emotional support animal that can just live in the dorms with you. I have to include a brief cameo of Thick Boy here. Having an animal on campus can be very helpful too, because if they're really in tune with you, they know when you're dissociating, like he really does. And if you happen to be having an episode or something, having a 16-pound cat sitting on your stomach is a very grounding experience. And it doesn't have to necessarily be a cat either. I've seen plenty of people with service dogs on campus, but in a bigger campus, you could even have more of a range of animals, I think. I'm not sure what the limits on specific colleges are for like what you can and cannot have as a service animal, but usually if you prefer cats or dogs, that's a very safe thing, and most colleges will let you have them. Although sometimes they require a note from a therapist, like that's what we got to have the cat on campus. Just a little note that you give to like the housing director guy. And then the housing people can just, write up a little certification for having a support animal, and just you can put it on your door. And it's great, and it works out just fine. And sometimes those can carry over through your entire college experience there, so you don't have to renew it or anything, which is very helpful. We've got an apartment on campus this year, which is pretty cool. And let's see, I think if you're a junior in most places, you can apply for an on campus apartment. It may be different throughout various schools because ours is kind of weird, but there are housing accommodations you can get as well. You can request a single dorm, you can request specific roommates who just are really in tune with you and your alters and systems and stuff like that. And that's really helpful as well. Roommates are a thing that can be a little bit tricky because we've had a few roommates leave for varying purposes. It's not all our fault. One of them left because it was a financial thing, another one just didn't feel like college was a good fit for him, and then the other one, I think she had a cat as well and just didn't want like cat drama going on. But yeah, once you get into, I think, your sophomore year in most colleges or the end of semesters, you can apply to have specific roommates, and it can provide a really good support system. And a lot of other students are totally fine with you asking for their notes. Like if you say, hey, I missed that bit about like a topic here. Do you mind if I check out your notes to see if there's anything important I missed? They'll be totally fine with it, especially if you've got friends in the class. Sharing notes is just a really big thing in college, and it's no big deal to ask, and people are just super chill about it. That's a great thing about college is people are really chill. Yeah, you'd expect college to be a lot more like stressful and high stakes, but a lot of the time people just don't really care about anything. You see people just going to class in like big old sweatshirts and leggings and stuff, and everyone's wearing their messy buns. It's kind of fun. But people don't really care that much if you show very big differences between alters. I've noticed it's kind of crazy. Like, I could go out one day and just be my normal bubbly self, and people are just like, cool. And then the next day, someone like Parsifal could be out, and he doesn't wear the glasses, and he kind of has that tired look in his eyes. People really don't think that much of it. Maybe it's just our place in the US currently. We live in the Pacific Northwest where people are pretty alternative, and we also go to a liberal arts college, so people are pretty used to differences and stuff. So I wouldn't worry too much about alters being different, like slightly different voices or like slightly different styles, because college is a place where everybody is figuring themselves out, and people will probably just think you're indecisive in style and stuff, which is super handy. And when it comes to dissociation during lectures, there are some tools you can use to help out with that as well. Personally, we're very artistically inclined, so we tend to doodle in our margins, and sometimes that can be really helpful. Like just drawing little things that kind of pertain to the lessons. Say if you're in biology, you can doodle some leaves. If you're in psychology, you can doodle some brains or something fun. And that can be really grounding just to have a little drawing or something there. And especially if it pertains to what you're learning about, that's extra bonus points. Another thing you could do is focusing on the slideshow if the professor has one. And that can be pretty helpful, especially if the professors show like pictures and stuff. You can look at those, or you can focus on their voices or something like that, or just taking your notes and making your handwriting really neat. And if those don't work, I've seen people bring in like some grounding tools, like fidget cubes, those little tangle things, and that can be really helpful if you need something like physical to hold to ground yourself. Personally, we don't really use those. We use the doodling stuff, and that's usually pretty helpful. Or if we're wearing something like one of these cool bracelet things or like some beads, you can just like kind of like fidget around with those, and that can be grounding as well. Now, on another note for the cooperation with alters is figuring out who would be good for certain situations. Say if there's someone who's fronting and you're about to go out to, I don't know, a party or something, because parties happen in college. So you could think about who's the social ones, who would be more better fit for class or studying and stuff, and you can kind of collaborate together and really work as a team to get through this whole thing. I know working together might not be easy for some people, but college can be a really successful time if you make it a team effort and work together. And it'll be really rewarding to come out with whatever degree you come out with and be like, yeah, we did this together and it was awesome. And if you need help, like don't worry about it. There's a lot of help that's offered on college campuses if you know where to look. You can go get those accommodations, and a lot of schools have therapists on campus as well. We've seen a couple of them. One of them just wasn't a good fit. His approach was different and just wasn't an ideal thing. But there's a new one on campus, and we're going to check her out, and she seems like she's going to be a pretty decent fit. So it's not all really one size fits all, and you're going to have to cram yourself into a box in college. There's many options, like options of therapists, options of classes, options of tools to help you. And these 4 years of education can really be the best time of your life. And it doesn't even have to be 4 years. Like, there is no shame in staying an extra year or graduating early or taking a year off. Because we've seen a lot of people who've done that come back, gotten their degree, and just had a good old time. Honestly, we're taking 5 years here on campus because we spent a year in the wrong major because we thought we were going to be a biology major. But it turns out that's not the box we fit in. So art and psychology is our double major currently. And I know it sounds like a lot to take on, but for us, art isn't really a class or work. It's kind of just expression and just what we're supposed to do. And that's another thing is you can really discover what you're supposed to do in college, because you can come in with an idea, say you want to be a business major, but then you go to business classes and stuff, and then you're like, this isn't really where I fit in. You can experiment around with classes, take some things for your required credits in different fields, really explore what you want to do and find what fits you the best. You don't have to stick to a plan if you're not coming in with a specific plan in mind. There's plenty of wiggle room, so you don't have to worry about that at all. So college might seem like this big old daunting thing that's like weighing over you and your consciousness, but don't be afraid. There are plenty of people there who will help you out. You could even connect with other systems that happen to be on campus. For example, we know about 5 altogether that are on the campus, and we kind of just get together and kind of be all like same when it comes to dissociating during lectures. So you're not alone in this. There's plenty of help, lots of tools you can utilize, and so many friends and opportunities you can encounter, and it can be the best 4 years of your life. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you have any more questions about how we get through all this college education, please feel free to put those down in the comments, and like and subscribe if you feel like it, and thank you so much for watching.